have to get these loans?
Well, funding is on a first-come, first-served basis, and they basically have until funding runs out or until September 30th, 2010, so whichever of those two deadlines comes first.
That's Samantha Patashkin live in our newsroom. Thanks, Sam. A Latino legal advocacy group launches an awareness campaign to calm fears about the 2010 census. The Mexican-American Legal Defense and Educational Fund in Chicago starts the project throughout Illinois and in 10 other states today. An agency spokeswoman says many people in the Latino community worry their information will be used to enforce immigration laws. Census forms don't ask about immigration status. They have questions on race, age, and gender. Maldiv says it's important minorities are accurately counted. Rockford's La Voz Latina says it's working on ways to join in on the campaign. Parents learn just how expensive it is to raise kids. Middle-income families with babies born in 2008 can expect to spend about $221,000 to raise their little ones over the next 17 years. The report from the U.S. Department of Agriculture helps courts and state governments determine child support guidelines and foster care payments. In 2008, two-parent middle-income families spent anywhere from $11,500 to nearly $13,500. If you watch documentaries on sharks like those on the Discovery Channel, this week you might think it's dangerous to go into the water. But a Rockford diver and shark fan says that is a misconception. 13 News reporter Bob Shaper is in the studio with his story and what he wants you to know. Bob.
Eric, Thomas Sergent, who works for Shark Diver magazine, has seen plenty of sharks up close, and he says if anyone should be afraid, it's the sharks. Thomas Sergent started diving when he was in the Marine Corps. Now, many years later, he's got plenty of shark dives under his belt, including a few to the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. So far, he says he's never been afraid. Let's face it, there are some sharks that like to gnaw on you and, just like drag you down and eat you and chomp on you.
Mistaken identity. I mean, most shark attacks, it's a case of mistaken identity, and it happens when the water is murky. It usually happens up at the surface.
Because this is Shark Week on the Discovery Channel, with shows like Blood in the Water and Great White Appetite, Sergeant wants people to know that sharks are the endangered species, not humans.
There's only 5 shark attack fatalities on average per year.
That's compared to an estimated 100 million shark deaths by humans, which are endangering many of the world's 375 shark species. In Asia, sharks are coveted for their fins, which are made into soup.
Caimans just recently last month, but we didn't see a single shark. So that was kind of a bummer. That lets you know that the species is really endangered. So 90% of the world's shark populations have been wiped out.
Restaurant owner Kiki Benson is a friend of Sergeant's. She refuses to serve shark or any other endangered species, but says other area restaurants may not be worried about conservation.
I think being a good steward to the earth is not at the top of the list for a lot of the restaurateurs in town. So I think they probably don't care.
A Sergeant visits Rockford classrooms and he asks kids to sign pledges to save sharks. He calls them shark ambassadors. Eric?
Nice to get the kids involved. Thanks, Bob. People living south of Indianapolis